Okay, well, once you've collected your data and it's stored on the watch, the next challenge is to get the data off the watch and into a usable format where we can take a look at a distance time graph. So to do that, we need to establish a connection with the computer, and it turns out that the charging cable serves a dual purpose in that regard, that you can actually use it to connect to your computer. So the first thing you'll need to do is unplug the USB port from the charger, and set that aside for the moment, and then go ahead and connect your watch up just like you would to charge it. So again, putting the 4 nodes on the 4 little metal spots on the back of the watch, so it looks like I've got a pretty good connection there. And then the last thing you'll need to do is you'll need to plug this into your computer, and you're looking at the watch to make sure that there is some sort of an indication that it's, well, in this case, charging. It can charge off the computer, but that means that the connection's been made on the back of the watch. And then what you do is look to your computer then to see whether or not you're getting any kind of indication from the computer that a new device has been added. And when I take a look at my computer screen, I can see that indeed I've got the Garmin Forerunner 110 there. So that's the first step to getting data off the watches, is making the connection with the computer. Okay, well, let's go ahead and show you how this works once you're on the computer and have established a connection. So you should see this autoplay come up if you're using a Windows machine. You don't want to open the folder to view the files, because the files come on the watch in a rather, I guess, uncooperative format. So you'll want to go ahead and just close this out once you know you're connected, and then go ahead and bring up Garmin Express. Now, Garmin Express is available on our website. The link is there. You're going to need to download this little piece of software to be able to, I guess, connect to your watch. The first thing you should notice under Garmin Express is that you have a connection established with the Forerunner 110. So this is the brand of the watch, or I guess the model of the watch. And all you're going to want to do is go ahead and sync it. Okay. Now, when you sync, what it's going to ask you to do is set up an account in the cloud at Garmin Connect. Now, since I already have an account, it just syncs right away every time I plug my watch in. Once you're synced, it says the sync is complete. You can view the data at Garmin Connect. So I'll go to Garmin Connect, which should then bring me into connect.garmin.com, and this is my own personal, I guess, space in the cloud where I can look at my activities. And usually what happens is you take a look at the activities. The most recent one that's been synced is loaded, and this is the one that was most recently looked at. So I'll go ahead and look at this one called Untitled. So there it is. It shows me the total distance I traversed in this particular setting was about 0.32 miles. It took me 7 minutes, so my average pace was about 22 minutes per mile. I burned about 25 calories is all. You can look at graphs down here if you'd like about timing and elevation, and these are changeable, right? I mean, you could look at distance down here, but I found it's just easier if we're wanting to take a look at this data as time distance data. The best thing to do is to just export the data. So under export, you'll choose the TCX file for export. You'll get an option to either open it or to save it. You can open it with Microsoft Excel, but I usually do just the save file. So it's saving now up here in my downloads file, or my downloads folder. And when I go into the downloads folder, what I see is the Garmin Connect activity as a TCX file. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually open this in the folder it's in. So there it is down there. These are all previous downloads. And I'm just going to copy that that activity. So I'm right-clicking and copying that whole file, and what I want to do is just put it on my desktop. So I'll paste it on my desktop, and there it is, and I'll just give it a new name. I don't know, I mean, let's just call it my time distance activity. Okay, and I need to rewrite it as a TCX file. Sorry. So time dist.tcx. Hit enter. Okay, so now it's there. I can go ahead and close out, and close out, and I see a new thing on my desktop, time dist.tcx. That's the file that I'm going to be able to open in Microsoft Excel. So I'll open up Excel, and from an open copy of Excel, what I want to do is go ahead and open, and I go to my desktop and find, you got to be a little bit careful, it doesn't recognize it as an Excel file, so change this Arial to all files. You'll see the time distance TCX. Hit open, and you're going to get some errors. All you do is hit yes for this. It's not corrupted. Open it as an XML table, that's fine. And then there's a little problem, so some schema has been resolved by Excel. I hit an OK and an OK, and here it is, all the data from the watch. The two columns that you're going to want to pay attention to are the time and the distance columns. So these are columns, they always come up the same. Column J, so I'll copy column J, so I highlight the whole column, hit copy, and then what I'm going to do is just start a second sheet down here and hit paste. And I actually am going to paste just the values in there, and I don't want all the colors and things. So there it is. I'm going to make it a little wider so I can see it. That's the time column. If I go back to sheet 1, then over 2 or 3 columns, I can see column N, as in Nancy, has the distances in it. So I'll right click and copy that, and I'll go into sheet 2 and right click and paste just the values. So here's all the distances that I traverse, and these are all the times. So I'll rewrite this as time and this one as dist. And things are a little bit fuzzy here. The distances come in nice. They're just meters, you know, and so, you know, we have a sense of, you know, how far I traveled, you know, at that time. But the times come in as, this is the format that's really tough. They're Greenwich Mean Times. So, you know, we're looking at, you know, something at 3 o'clock, it says, but 3:06. But, you know, it turns out that I actually recorded this at 9 in the morning, but it was 3:06 Greenwich Mean Time. That's I guess a fact of all GPS, that it's all uses Greenwich Mean Time. But the other thing that's getting in the way is that there's a date on there and some format, you know, this date and then a T and then a time and then a dot, a decimal point, and then 3 zeros and a Z. I'd like to get rid of that stuff. So, you know, one way you can do it is to come in here and just sort of swipe it away by, you know, cutting those pieces out. But an easier way to do it is just to highlight this column, go to find and select, and use the replace, find and replace argument. So really what I want to find, I want to find this date with the T after it, so 2014-9-30T, and what do I want to replace it with? Well, I want to just get rid of it, so I replace it with nothing, and I hit replace all, and it made 55 replacements for the 55 data points, and the dates are gone. If I copy in, again, the first date, and I see this .000Z that I'd like to get rid of, so I will search and replace that with a null replacement argument. So I'll replace all that, hit OK. Okay, so now I'm in a good setting where I've got time and distance, and I'm going to auto-fit my column widths, and I can see the time now is in kind of standard time format, and the distance is in sort of standard decimal format. And that makes it nice because when I highlight those two and go to Insert and Scatter, I usually do the connected scatter. I get this picture, and that's the start of the picture for my walk. And if you'll remember, you know, I walked at a certain rate, and then at some point I said, oh, let's see what happens if I go a little faster. Well, I went a little faster here, it looks like. and then it looks like I slowed back down a little bit, and then I stopped, and we sat, about halfway around the oval for a little while. And then I just walked, it looks like, at a fairly consistent rate the remainder of the distance to the math building. So that's the way that you can get the data off your watch and into Microsoft Excel to produce a graph that will allow you to try to reproduce the run. In the next video, I'll show you how you can overlay 3 different graphs in Microsoft Excel using 3 different sets of data that are obtained from 3 different watches like this.